My name is Talliah Hanchor, and this film is about a local cowboy artist named James Shoshone.
My mother's name is Linda Shoshone, and my late father's name is James Shoshone Sr. And on my mother's side, I am Washoe and Wailaki. And on my father's side, I am Timbisha Shoshone from Death Valley, California.
Where do you get your ideas from?
Every picture that I've drawn is something that I've done in ranch life or I've seen in ranch life from Buckaroo and from the time I've been here. Images that I've heard from the cowboys they talk about at the bunkhouse, or something that I saw that day, whether we were branding or moving cows or just saddling up, and horses that are fresh, they'll go to jumping around, and I'll remember it and I'll put it on a paper later on when I get back to the bunkhouse.
Okay, what is this art piece about?
This particular drawing is an interpretation of Woody Harney riding a buckskin horse at the IL Ranch back in the winter of 92-93. Woody had called for his bucking horse. His name was Nilo, and he led Nilo out of that barn. And anyway, he climbed on him, and Nilo took a big jump with Woody, and Woody, his hat fell down. And when his hat fell down, Woody grabbed his hat and caught it before it hit the ground, and he looked at his hat really good, and he just hit that horse right in the shoulder. Sounded like gunshot. And then that horse just jumped straight up in the air, come back down, and Woody hit him again. Sounded like gunshot when he hit in that second jump. He come up and he hit a patch of ice, and that horse flipped over on his side. And we thought it broke Woody's leg, but he didn't. He got up laughing, and the horse ran off and was bucking around, and we caught him, and then we took off trotting out. That's what that picture is about.
Do you love doing these?
Yes, very much. My greatest love about it is making people smile and making people happy when they see my artwork and they say, "Oh, I done that," or "Oh, I seen that," or "I heard about that," and they know the stories that goes with it, or they know something similar to it that they themselves can portray themselves in it, and then they can identify to it.
Not only does James do art, he collects and trades gear with other cowboys.
These rawhide reins right here, they're made by Aaron Hall, who's from here in Owyhee, Nevada. And this headstall right here was made by a elderly gentleman that's gone now. His name is Stanley Gibson. He was from Owyhee, Nevada. And this bit was my very first custom ordered bit made by Todd Hansen. He's from Montana. And I just enjoy looking at it and using it, and it makes me feel good that to have a nice piece of article on my horse's head, and I'm sure it makes him feel good that I take pride in him and dress him up a little bit so that he packs me around. And like my partner Spider Teller once told me, he says, "I might not be a good cowboy, but I might as well look like one."
So what are these made of?
Like these ropes here on the ground, they're made out of a dead cow. Anyway, now they get a cow's hide and they take the hair off of it and they soak it in water, and then they cut a big strip out of them, and they'll cut little strings out of them like this, and they cut 4 of them out of this one, and then they start braiding them. They actually call this building, and this is called a rieta. This thing is 72 feet long. They've heard of them up to 100 feet long, because when they rope a cow, they don't want to like jerk them, and they can't. With this, you can't jerk it because it'll break. It's a really sensitive material, but it's really comes to life in the proper person's hands. I used to hear stories about these Indians out here in Owyhee that they could use a 20-foot loop, and they'll throw it about 30 or 40 feet from their horse, and they said they'll look like they're not going to catch nothing, and they'll come up with 2 feet. That's how accurate them Indians were with these one time. And I've heard an elderly buckaroo man by the name of Lom Hooper told me that the old people say that these are never supposed to touch the ground when you're roping. He said their hands are so fast. Well, it's a work of art, using one and building one in itself.
Meeting James was a great experience for me because I also have an interest in art. I learned different techniques that I can use like stippling, hatching, and where to use shadows in drawings. I really like James' artworks and they will inspire me to do more art.